Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia and here on this channel we talk about writing, journaling, and productivity to help you curate a life that you love. So today I wanted to talk again about journaling. It's kind of something that I've been experimenting with more and something that I have found that you guys really enjoy, and I've gotten a lot of messages recently about people who want to get into journaling, they don't really know what to do with it, they can't keep it, all that kind of stuff. So I am planning on a bunch of journaling content for this channel. I still want to do productivity and like personal development videos as well, but I am putting a little bit more focus on journaling, so that's something to look forward to. Anyway, so for today's video I wanted to talk about journaling with the lunar phases. So not too long ago I came across this idea on Pinterest. I learned about this idea of journaling with the moon phases, and as a person who's very spiritual and connected to astrology, I thought this would be great, so I've been working on that, and I have a few tips and ways that you can go about journaling with the lunar phases as well if you are interested. So before we get into this video, be sure to let me know which lunar phase interests you most and why, and then after you learn about the journaling that you do for this lunar phase, let me know your thoughts and if that holds some sort of deeper meaning to you, because I'm really curious, because personally I have a favorite and I want to know if you do too, so yeah. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more journaling tips like this one, and without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into this. Alright, so the first thing that we need to cover is why you should even journal with the lunar phases to begin with. I think that it's important to know why you're doing something before you just start jumping into it. So when it comes to journaling with the lunar phases, it's really about a cycle. It's really about assessing each month from beginning to end. And what's interesting and different about the lunar cycle from like our standard months is just that the new moon doesn't always fall at the beginning of the month. It's actually a 28-day cycle, and since our months are kind of, they range from 28 to 31, so since it's kind of crazy, it does make the lunar cycle a little bit wonky when it comes to starts, but I think that it's a great way to connect spiritually, since a lot of astrological events and things that happen between the moon and what sign it is in affects us, and where the moon is located, as well as like the other planets, the sun, all of that, does kind of dictate how you're going to go about things in your life. And so, not to make this complicated or to get into astrology too deep, we'll push that aside for a second because it is kind of a lengthy topic, but I wanted to talk about how journaling with the moon phases can impact your mental health or just your spirituality or like your mindset in general. So typically you'll see a lot of people, and including myself, talking about journaling at the beginning and end of the month to kind of, make affirmations at the start of the month and then reflect at the end of the month. But you can also do this through the moon phases, which is a bit more connected to astrology and perhaps more connected to how you might be feeling at any given time. So journaling with the lunar phases kind of gives you a way to connect astrologically and spiritually to what's happening around you, and then to use that energy in your journaling rather than kind of forcing a new start or forcing that new beginning energy during the beginning of the month if the new moon may not even be happening then. And that's just a very, very small example, but honestly it's just really fun to do, so that's a good reason. That's all the reason you need. Alright, so you're probably wondering how you can go about journaling with the lunar phases. That's what this whole video is about. So I'm going to give you a little bit of meaning behind each lunar phase and some ideas of what you can journal about. If you want specific journal prompts, I will have a blog post listed down in the description box below that you can click on, and then you can get a bunch of journal prompts on my website, so that way it can help you kind of guide your journaling. Now, another thing to point out is if you don't know what lunar phase is currently happening, you can do a few things. First, you can get an app that tracks the moon cycle and lets you know. You can read your horoscope every day. They typically talk about where the moon is. Or you can also just go to Google and type in what lunar phase are we currently in or something similar, and it will tell you exactly what phase you are experiencing on today's date. So those are a few ways that you can do it, and the thing about this is you don't have to journal every single day for this to work. You could really honestly focus on just the new moon and the full moon if you wanted to, or you can choose the other main 8 lunar phases that take prominence. So it's really like journaling 8 times a month, if anything. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the first lunar phase that can dictate or guide your journaling experience. And that is the new moon. New moons represent new beginnings, new starts, intention setting, self-care, and kind of like just the overall beginning of the next moon cycle. So if you're journaling on the new moon, I would highly encourage you to write down affirmations, write down the goals you want to experience by the next 28 days. Reevaluate your life and see what you want to focus on. Where do you want to direct your energy? This is also a really great time for self-care, so you can go into your journal and you can document ways that you feel loved or that you feel cared for, in ways that you can give it to yourself or ways you can experience it with others. And you can also set goals for your self-care, self-love, relationships, all of that for the next month. So I really enjoy new moon journaling a lot more than I think any of the others. I mean, I enjoy full moon journaling too, but I think I mostly enjoy new moon because I love setting intentions and I like making goals for myself that I can try to achieve within the next 28 days. The next lunar phase that you can focus on is called the waxing crescent. So this is the phase right after the new moon phase, and the waxing crescent focuses on goal setting and planning. So yes, in your new moon journal you can write down your goals, but it's more about making that beginning affirmations, making those statements like, I want to do this, this is what I want to achieve, here's where I want to be. And the waxing crescent is more about making an action plan to reach those goals. So you can think of this particular journal entry as a step-by-step plan on how you might achieve something. Let's say that by the end of the month you want to have exercised twice a week at the gym. So you could write down your action plan, but using these action statements that I've mentioned before in my habit making video, like I will exercise at the gym at 10 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. There. That's a definitive goal that you can set for yourself and a way to kind of plan it out so you will go about doing it. The next lunar phase that you need to know about is the first quarter. The first quarter is all about taking action and working towards your goals. And when it comes to journaling, this part gets a little weird, only because when you're taking action, you're in the middle of doing something, and journaling about what you're currently doing is different. Journaling tends to be more self-reflection or forward-facing instead of kind of what's happening in the current moment. But I think that free journaling and journaling like through a stream of consciousness, like diary entry type of thing, is really valuable at this particular stage in the lunar cycle because you can focus on how your day went, how you've been acting towards your goals or just acting in general, and you can kind of document these steps you've been taking. You don't have to do any reflection or evaluation, you simply just write down what you've done, and that's honestly what's expected. You can also use different statements and other questions to, like in your journal, like prompts and such, to kind of define how you've been taking action. You can ask the questions like, what have I been doing to work towards my goals? How have I been acting recently in blank section of my life? And so on and so forth. So I, again, will have a lot of prompts listed in my blog post, which you can find in the description box below, so be sure to check that out if you are interested in journaling with any of these phases, because I know that examples can be kind of hard to find and hard to come up with on your own. So the fourth lunar phase that you can work with is the waxing gibbous. This period is all about reflection and meditation. So during this phase, I tend to prefer to meditate and then do a journal entry about my meditation, or I will take like more of a meditative stream of consciousness journaling entry to just kind of relax my mind, let go of like thoughts and stuff that are kind of overwhelming me. I'm trying my hardest to find peace and get into that meditative, relaxing state. But it's also a state of reflection, and as I mentioned, journaling is really involved with reflection. So there are several prompts that you can ask yourself to reflect on how you've been this past month, how you're feeling currently, what you want to aspire to, like several different things. I have so many journal prompts on reflection, so I will try to leave a link to my journal prompts page as well down below, and you can kind of sift through that to see where you want to focus your energy when it comes to reflection. Alright, and the fifth stage for the lunar cycle is the full moon, and a lot of us are really drawn to the full moon. I think that it's a big entity in the sky, it's a bright light, but mysticism, mythology, and lore aside, full moons are about celebration. They're about expressing gratitude, finding things that you're grateful for, and finding areas in your life that are full of opportunity and joy. I think a great way to journal during the full moon is, again, to just make a big gratitude list, to write down your achievements, to write down the things that make you happy, and just kind of keep a running list of just ways that you are grateful in life in general. But since full moons are also about celebration, you can also set aside some time to answer ways that you could celebrate yourself, celebrate your life, and just have fun. I think this period is mostly about living life and having fun as much as you can, because the full moon is about that completion. You may not have completed your goals, but it's okay to just take some time aside and celebrate and to stop working, in a sense. Okay, so the next lunar phase that you can focus on in your journaling is the waning gibbous. The waning gibbous is all about evaluating where you're growing. It's about noticing where you have grown and seeing how you are currently growing and moving towards those goals we talked about earlier. I think that one great way to use this journaling time is to answer the simple question, how are you growing? And I know it's simple, it's very broad, but you can kind of go to it and ask yourself how you are maturing as a person, how you are reaching your goals, and how you are acting in your daily life. And I think all of those things culminate to who you are and how you make an impact on this world. The next lunar phase that you can journal to is the third quarter. The third quarter is all about letting go, understanding what you need to let go of, and reducing the amount of negativity in your life. I've talked before about how toxic some personal development things can be. I mean, I need to make a rant on how toxic social media can be, and there are other places in your life where toxicity and negativity just exist. And that's not even including our own minds, where we give ourselves a lot of self-deprecating thoughts, we fall into negative thought patterns, and really this time in the third quarter is to reevaluate where that negativity exists and then to let go of it. This is a time where you really need to write down a list of things you need to let go of in order to grow. And that could be several things. It could be friendships, it could be dietary habits, it could be just regular habits in general that are holding you back. It could be poor sleep patterns or the fact that you are falling into leisure activities over work or vice versa. It's a really important period of reflection that asks you to analyze where you're succeeding, where you're failing, and how you can take those failures and just let them go. Alright, and then the final lunar phase that you can use in your journaling process is the waning crescent. During this phase, your goals and everything have sort of come to completion. Now, you may not have achieved everything, and that's okay. It's not really about achieving things by a deadline. It's more about contemplating and reevaluating where you've succeeded and where you've fallen behind. So this is the period of time where you go back and look at the goals you made during your new moon journaling entry, and you assess what worked and what didn't. Then you contemplate how you can make a more effective plan moving forward. You reevaluate what goals that need checked off your to-do list and which ones need to continue on to the next new moon, which would be the next moon in this cycle. Similarly, you can do something like this in full moon. I talked a little bit about celebration, but you can also do a kind of reevaluation, seeing where you were during the new moon and where you are now at the full moon. But I typically save it for the next full moon, so that way it has like a month to really culminate and really saturate into what I want my life to be like and what I've achieved. I feel like the period between new moon and full moon is just too small for me to really make a change, so I tend to wait between new moons, if that makes sense. Anyway, I hope that you guys liked this video. Again, if you want more tips and prompts on lunar phases and how to journal with it, definitely check out that blog post below. There's a lot more there, and if you just want prompts, scroll down, find the prompts that you need, and answer them. I hope that this inspires you in some way or another. If you want to see more content like this, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to let me know in the comments below what kind of journaling or productivity tips you want or are interested in, and I will do my best to make a video for that. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.